Hi there, Chris here with another painting video for you. In this video, we are going to quickly take a look at how I paint the chevrons on my Wraithlord's tabard. And so as you can see here, we have the tabard here, and it's been given a base coat of Celestra Gray, and then it was highlighted with Ulthuan Gray, and then a little bit of highlighting with White Scar. We're going to use Mephiston Red, a little bit of medium help, and we're going to use our detail brush. And we're basically thinning the Mephiston Red way down, not so much to a glaze consistency, but it's pretty thin. And so here I'm just determining exactly where I want to place the chevrons. And so you want to use actual visual markers like the model itself. And so like for a quick reference, I'm just going by just the kneecaps as far as the top of the chevron and where the chevron's going to end. And that's kind of like that second line in the break in the shin. And so whatever you decide to do when you're doing these kind of chevrons, you know, it's entirely up to you. And of course, as you can see here, as I'm working my way, I'm trying to make sure that my brush stays perpendicular to the model surface, as you know, there are slight wavy bumps. Now this is a really kind of light case of like the textured cloth rippling and such. This is very smooth actually in comparison to a lot of sculpts that have like a really wavy kind of cloth texture going on. But in any case, whenever you are working on those slight textures, you want to always make sure your brush stays perpendicular, or at least close to perpendicular as possible, so that, you know, when you are moving your brush across, you're not ending up hitting the side bristles and creating thicker than you wanted lines. And basically, you'll end up creating really thick lines when you hit with the side of brush. And you can see like at one point there I did make a little bit too thick a line, but of course if you do make any kind of errors, you can always correct them as long as you know what colors you used beforehand or what mixture of colors you had. And of course that just stems from keeping good notes and things like that. And so as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. I'm still using my detail brush here, and then I'm just creating this little chisel at the bottom here. And basically what I'm going for is this chevron that kind of breaks in behind and goes in a straight line behind the big chevron, and that's a little chevron that I made up for my craft world here. I'm using some Celestra Gray to basically correct up some of the little areas. You can see I got a little overzealous in the bottom portion, and of course it also allows you to correct up some of the red lines as well. Now again, because we are using the base tone, it's going to cover some of our highlight, and you can actually see this kind of visible break where the chevron is in comparison to the rest of the cloth. But that's fine, we can correct that one later on as well. Oftentimes you'll find that you are going back and forth when you are painting your models, that you know, you're correcting this, correcting that, but as long as you keep notes of what colors you're using, you should be fine. And so again, you can see I'm simply just going through and reestablishing the red, and basically the tricky part is just making sure that little end part in the thinner parts of the chevron kind of look like a line that's going in behind the other chevron. Evil Sun Scarlet is next, and this is going to be our highlight color. This is pretty straightforward here. I'm just obviously putting a quick little highlight on the raised points of the cloth of the chevron, allowing the Mephiston Red to remain within the lower points of the cloth. And of course, we're not too concerned with doing the back side of the cloth either. So again, you know, it's just really just the front portion that's going to get done here. Now you see just really kind of quick little highlights laid out there. And of course, bearing in mind too that we're going to be putting a transfer on that later on as well. Ulthuan Gray is next. Now we're going to break this down with some Lemaine medium. We're going to break this down into a glaze consistency. Now you see as I'm working with it on the palette here, you can see I'm breaking it way down. It's really thin. And basically what we're doing is I'm going to quickly start off closest towards the chevron with the color, and then I'm going to push some of the color back up towards, and this is just to slowly build that gradient back up. Now we could just simply lay this color down closest to the chevrons themselves, but I find that that's a little bit haphazard, and of course you could always make a mistake and end up hitting your design, and then you'll end up having to come back in with the red and everything again. So it's better just to come at it in slow processes and build that color back up towards where you got just a little overzealous. And of course here I'm just reinforcing some of the highlights down the tabard as well. Initially it was done with airbrush, but here I'm just simply reinforcing it with more glazing as we go through it. And of course all we're doing is we're just trying to break up that initial kind of shadow break that was there with the base color, and that is it. And so once you're done, it's the chevron is ready to put on the rest of the model, and it's as easy as that.